Well, thanks very much. As usual, it's my pleasure to be here at IAC, and I want to welcome the nations that are here for the first time. I think it's one of the things that's interesting to note is that every year we have more and more nations begin to participate in this forum, and I think that's really important. I want to thank our host here in Mexico, particularly the Mexican Space Agency. Everything looks like it is going well this morning. We're very proud to be here. I also want to extend my greetings to everyone who is here on the stage with us, because I think we all have important stories to tell, so I'm going to launch right into mine. I think this IAC is going to be recorded as one to be noted in the history of the global space community, because this is an IAC where you're going to see more and more input from commercial entities, something that we at NASA have been trying to promote for a number of years now. In our case, we feel that the pieces are in place for our journey to Mars. This is something we have been talking about for a number of years. The pictorial before you shows essentially in pictorial form how we go through three phases. The phase that we're in now, which we call the Earth Reliant phase. We've been here for 40 or more years, now dominated by life and work on the International Space Station, moving to the proving ground of cislunar space, where we will be beginning as early as 2018 when we launch SLS and Orion to cislunar space, uncrewed, followed by a crewed mission and a number of exploration missions after that, preparing us, making sure that our technologies are sound, and that we understand as much as we need to about the human body to move on out into the area that we call Earth independent when we finally get to Mars. This is an area where we've been operating with many of you for more than 40 years now, with rovers and landers and orbiters. Very proud that we are there now with our friends from India, who became the first nation ever to get to Mars on the first attempt. We're working with, you can applaud, I think that's worthy. We're currently working with the United Arab Emirates, a new organization on the scene that's been around for about 2 years, but we're working diligently with them because they're trying to get to Mars launching in 2020 to arrive in 2021. They'll complete the suite of 3 instruments that are looking at Mars's atmosphere, with India looking at the lower atmosphere, us looking at the upper atmosphere, and the UAE looking at the middle atmosphere. So I think that's what you're going to see, is collaboration among nations to accomplish a goal that it would take one nation just too much to do. We continue developing our cargo missions. We've now had 3 years of successful missions from SpaceX and Orbital ATK in delivering commercially cargo to the International Space Station. Currently working with Boeing and SpaceX to get our crew vehicles ready to fly. We hope to have the first proof of mission flights next year, uncrewed, and then fly in 2018 for the first time on commercial vehicles, taking astronauts from Earth, from the Florida Space Coast again, to the International Space Station and other destinations in low Earth orbit. As I mentioned, our first exploration mission 1 is scheduled in 2018. We're working with the European Space Agency. They have already delivered a structural test article for Orion to us. It's currently at Plumbrook Station outside of our Glenn Research Center undergoing tests, and we're looking forward to more tests there. This past year we fired the SLS booster, the last firing of that booster, to make sure that we demonstrated the booster rocket apparatus for the Space Launch System. We also have been firing the RS-25 engines on our test at the Stennis Space Center. Robotic segment of our asteroid redirect mission, which we consider to be critical on our journey to Mars, passed a key decision point this past summer. We got astronaut Scott Kelly and Mikhail Kornienko home from their record-setting 1-year mission in space. Scott also participated with his twin brother Mark in the first ever twin study looking at genetic makeup, the effects of space flight on DNA, and the like. We, like Savan said, we're excited about selecting new astronauts. The class of 2013, we're very proud to say we selected 8 out of 6,800 applicants for the first time ever, 50-50 men and women. I think we're very proud of that. We now are looking through 18 18,300 applicants for the class of 2017, and that will be whittled down to some single-digit number, more than likely, and we're hoping to continue our thrust toward diversity there. In aeronautics, we're resuming work on X-planes. We mentioned that we're going to fly X-57, Maxwell, and so we'll talk about more of it as we go along. Thank you.